Hello YouTube, Ruth Basque here again with another video. So I'm going to do a short video for Witchy Wednesday on the Pantheons of the gods and goddesses. And in my book here, it lists several different types of paths that can be followed, or gods and goddesses that you can choose to work with on your path in Wiccan path of following the path of the Wiccan way. For those of you who are just starting or have been interested in starting, I'm going to supply this in my Witchy Wednesday because it's part of following the path of the Wiccan way. So we're going to start with, it's always a good idea to decide what path you are drawn to start with. And I don't mean like black magic or white magic. I'm talking about which deities call to you. Which type of deities are you drawn to the most? For instance, are you drawn to the Egyptian deities? There are several different deities you can always call upon that are Egyptian that could help you along your path that you can work with as a witch. Like there's Anubis, there's Apit, there's Bas, there's Base, there's Uchit, Hathor, Horus, Isis, Osiris. A lot of witches use Isis and Osiris as the god and goddess of the circle because they're the All-Mother and the All-Father type. But there are different types that you can follow. Like some people who feel more associated with like cat beings would work with Bas or Sikimet. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm not really sure. I've never really been good with interpreting the names of Egyptian deities. There's Khepra, who is the sun god. So you could use Bas as your moon goddess and Khepra as your sun god. But yeah, for most of the witches I've talked to, it's usually if they're working with Egyptian deities, they're working with Isis and Osiris. So, and that's just a few of the Egyptians. And there's Ra and Set and Troth. And then you have Middle Eastern deities you can work with as well. With the Middle Eastern deities would be like... kind of be, I want to say the Hindus and the Buddhists, but I believe these are Babylonian. So the ones mentioned here are Babylonian. And with the Babylonians, I'm not really sure which ones witches would use out of the Babylonian as their main deities. I'm figuring most likely probably Ashtar and, let me see if I can find his name. Or Iana, or Estar, Mordok would be one. Lilith would be another. So, Nanai, the Great Mother would be another one they would use. So you could look into using those as they are Babylonian. And then there are Greek and Roman gods. And a lot of people figure... for the father and the mother, it'd be Zeus and his wife. But for a lot of people, I've noticed they would use Apollo or Athena or Aphrodite and can't pronounce his name. I knew I was going to come across that problem eventually. And her son, who is known as Cupid, Eros, who is also called Cupid. So, you can look, if you're drawn to the Greek, you can look up and find out which one of these you feel fits you best as, like Apollo and Athena, the sun and the moon, would work as deities you might want to use to work with that are Greek. And then we have the Celts. So in the Celts, it's, the main mother, the All-Mother and the All-Father of the Celts, which is Irish, would be Danu and Orca, or however you pronounce his name. It's the All-Father and the All-Mother. But I've actually, when I started working with them, I was using Carnunus and Corrigan. because I felt the Dagda and Danu are the All-Mother and the All-Father to the kilts. But like I said, when I was working with them, I was using Corridon and Carnunis as my deities before I became a dragon mystic. So when you're like into finding different cultures and different ones you like, I mean, even if you're drawn to something that's Native American, I'm not familiar with Native American spiritual deities that well, and I've been looking into those because I do have Indian blood in me. If you're drawn to that, then use some of that. If you're drawn to something from the African, from Africa, and you feel that path feels good to you, like that deity, that Pantheon works with you well, then work with the African deities. So it's not really this is how you have to do it or this is how you have to do it. You can do it how you feel you want to do it, as long as you remember never to harm others. In it, harm none, do as you will. And that's always a witch's code. It should always be followed, because if you work the black arts to hurt people for no reason, or it's going to come back on you tenfold. And that's just a given. So you got to watch it. And then in the Nordic or Germanic areas, you would want Freya and Odin as the main. But if you find other ones that you feel work with you better, then that's fine too, because some people prefer Thor. My brother, he works with Thor. So, and in India, you would have Shiva and Parvati are two that would work. There's Krishna, Brahma, and his consort. With me, when it came to the Hindu path, and the deity that called to me the most is her right there, Kali. Now, Kali actually is the consort or wife of Shiva. So actually, I can have a Shiva on the same altar with her, and I'd be honoring both her and her husband at the same time. So, and I am going to plan on doing that. Kali's son is the elephant-headed god named Ganesh, and I could put him on this altar and it would work as well. So that was just a little bit of ideas of what you could find. So if you're drawn to Hindu deities and you're practicing witchcraft, you can most certainly use deities from the Hindu Pantheon if that's Pantheon, if that's what you're drawn to. So I just wanted to cover a little bit of that today for Witchy Wednesday, and to let you know that there are many paths out there you can find for deities that you can use, but do be careful, because some of them can be very picky on how you work with them. Like for instance with Santa Cia Morte over here, working with her is tricky, and she's easy to get angry. She will anger easily. So if you're not really wanting to just work, because she's a jealous spirit, she won't share her altar with anybody else, and she doesn't like it if you are like working with other deities other than her, because she's a jealous spirit. But she will answer your request really, really quick. So that's just a warning on that. Kali isn't a jealous deity per se, and she will help you, but when you're working with her and you're wanting something that you want done, be prepared for the type of change she may bring, because if it's something you want done and you want it done fast, but you want it done a certain way, Mother Kali here may decide that no, it needs to be done this way, and it may end up in a path or direction you're not ready for, and people could get hurt. So, when you're working with different cultures, study their background of the deities before you work with them, and study their belief system pretty strongly before you start working with them, so that you don't find yourself in a situation you can't get out of because you don't know how you got in it. So, in the meantime, I hope you liked this video. If you did, link it, share it, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when I upload more videos. In the meantime, may the goddess bless you with all of her love and kindness. Blessed be all.